So what we in 2019 came in to do is to help them to understand some of these hazardous components and see how best they can do their segregation, but do it in a proper way. So most of our trainings were trainings on how to dismantle properly, how to retrieve resources from these materials very well, how to wear PPEs. PPEs means protective personal equipment, that like gloves and other things, so that they can easily do these segregations better and then retrieve the resources that they can retrieve, and then all the materials that we are talking about circularity now. The circularity that we are talking about is these materials can go back into those who need them, and then they can process them into similar products or maybe a different product or reuse into other products. So this is what we embarked on, and this is a whole business chain that creates employment. It also is a source of funds, and then also building the capacity of the informal person into a proper business entity.
Thank you. Okay, so Cordy, so I know that Environment 360 is the pioneer of waste recycling in Ghana, basically. So what I want to ask Cordy about is how Environment 360 contributes to waste management and environmental sustainability. And also, what do you think needs to be done to improve recycling in Ghana? Yes.
So as mentioned, Environment 360 actually developed the first successful community plastic collection scheme in 2019 or so. Yeah, it was Evolve. That's been recognized by the Ministry of Environment, Science, Technology, and Innovation. One of the key things I think has been really important for us is incorporation of the informal sector, as he mentioned. When you look at statistics for developing countries, and then also when you talk about a just transition, it's really critical that informal sector is really equipped with the technology and the skills to be able to continue to do the job that they do very well, but maybe just in a more sustainable way. One of the interesting facts here in Accra is that informal sector waste workers are actually credited with almost collecting just as much, if not more, waste than formal waste collectors. So that really goes to show how formidable they are. I think it's also really important that you look at community engagement and education as well. One of the major issues that a lot of waste pickers face or informal sector collectors is they face a lot of stigmatization from society. People think that they're drug users, people think that they're mentally ill, people feel that they're sort of the very bottom of society, when in fact, when you look at some of the incomes of some of them, they actually make more than some of the formal level employees. It's just that they happen to work in waste. So I think that that's also a really critical thing. So Environment 360 really works together with communities and informal sector waste collectors to really provide them a sustainable outlet that meets environmental standards to actually bring their plastics in and then pay fair wages. One of the key challenges with waste management in this sector of the world is that it's actually not subsidized. When we look at Europe, when we look at the United States, Asia, other places, the government actually plays a huge role in subsidizing waste collection through the collection of taxes. Unfortunately, on our part of the world, the majority of our economy is still quite informal. That means that we don't collect as much taxes, particularly from municipal assemblies, homes, and other things. They don't directly collect taxes. So they don't necessarily have the money to be able to facilitate waste management, which is why Environment 360 actually worked with this partner to become registered with VERA. VERA is actually the highest standard for environmental credits globally. And what this does is it actually allows us to be paid from international companies for the amount of tonnage of plastic that we collect. When you look at plastic credits and carbon credits, these are actually a huge opportunity to really help subsidize and fund waste management on this particular side of the world. One, it allows organizations to really pay fair wages to waste pickers. Two, though, it also allows them to be able to expand infrastructure and invest in employees as well. So this is how Environment 360 is really working to support sustainable waste management. I think one of the key challenges that we do have to look at is that there's not diversified players within our waste management space. And I think this is actually blocking out a lot of youth and other innovators that really have great ideas that are non-traditional on how to harness the value of waste from their communities, simply because we have more traditional players that have longevity in the market that essentially have a monopoly. So it makes it very difficult for innovation to come forward within the sector. It makes it very difficult to break it down into sort of tangible or eatable parts where everybody can actually play a role versus one person playing a role. And I think most people know monopolies create inefficiency, and I think particularly when you have a lot of urban areas and coastal areas that really have high populations that have issues with large trucks going down the road, or the roads aren't suitable enough for vehicles, we really do need to be looking at alternative waste collection systems that better support our nationally determined contributions.
Thank you. Okay, so to Valerie. Yeah. We all know that CDKN is like a hub of knowledge. So we want to know how CDKN empowers young people to take evidence-based action and how they support these young people taking action. Yes.
Thank you. So under our program, we have a variety of projects and activities that we run. We have the Climate Activist Program, for instance, where we open a call for application for people who are new in the green space, because we noticed that there are a lot of calls for applications, etc. And then the same type of people keep applying to go into those kind of capacity building and trainings and all of that. And there's this sort of a choke of young people who keep getting certificates for different trainings and capacity buildings, but then they do not take action with it. So the Climate Activist Program, the aim is that once you are a newbie, once you are a greenhorn in the green space, you apply, it has a criteria, you are shortlisted. We provide training on inclusive financing, community-based activism. They're developing their own project proposals for support from ourselves, that's internally, and then with other partner support as well. And then also, we have trainings on how to communicate climate change in itself, because you realize that the depth of the understanding of what evidence-based climate change is very low among some Ghanaian youth. So you have a lot of people who are interested in it and they are passionate about it, but they don't have the evidence to back it. And the world does not listen to our emotions or how we feel. The world listens to evidence-based conversations. And so what we do is that with the kind of information we have from research, we have a climate inventory of from all across Ghana. We use that as a tool to empower these young people to understand, based on the community context, what is happening at the local level in Ghana, and then the conversation in the global south in Africa, and then on the global north. Our first cohort is what we had it last year, and we've realized the learnings from it, and then the success stories from it. Most of them are individual people who were not really people who you would know in the space, like the names you would always see at every program. But we see how they've been able to merge it into their current scope of work. We have a young man, Alex, who came in as a health practitioner. He was just a health person, but now his organization, because of him, has a climate change and health hub that he is currently leading. That is an impact story. That is someone who is making a change. We also have young people, Fatih, some of them are here. they are leading very, very interesting projects in their organizations that they work with currently. And they become pioneer head starters for a lot of things. And we have a life cycle of, once you are part of us, you have access to mentoring, you have access to support, you have access to capacity building for both your career progression, academic progression, and then personal progression. I think that is very important, especially within the space we find ourselves in Ghana. And this is just one of the many projects that we run. We have we have an ecopreneurship stream of support. We have a climate change and arts stream of support. We have early career research support, because we believe that there's a gap when it comes to the number of African people within the scientific space and research space when it comes to climate change. So we have what we call the Amplifying the Voice of African Research stream as well that we work with. So I'm sure when you read more about us on social media, please take advantage of our social media platforms, because we put out a lot of our calls there. You see firsthand what happens there. And then when it comes to young people, with the kind of work we do at CDK, and it is high value that once they have the understanding, you connect them to relevant partners. So most of the people on this panel we've had interactions with as CDK in Ghana, because we are interested in how to put people in different spaces to ensure that the knowledge that they have does not stay at knowledge, but it becomes action. So yeah, that's what we do with
Thank
young
you so
people
much,
and
Valerie.
primary action.
Thank you. That was very insightful. We are going to ask Matthias about the challenges that he's faced in preserving perishable goods and the kind of innovative technologies that he's employed to do this. After that, everyone will speak about how they think that the youth can collaborate to take further climate action, and then we'll wrap up. Yes.
All right, thank you. I'll make it quite brief. So food systems is something most often people neglect, but it's also a major contributor to the climate crisis, because as we speak now, a third of all food produced every year is lost before getting to consumers. And according to UNEP, about 10% of all greenhouse gas emissions are associated with food waste. And you know, when we throw our foods away, it ends up in the landfill, and when it gets there, it emits harmful gases like methane, which contributes to carbon emissions. So it is very, very important for us to preserve our food and ensure that food doesn't end up in the landfill, because it goes beyond even food ending up in the landfills. People do not get access to food. It means there's this conversation around malnutrition. There's also water and all the other resources that went into producing the food. So it is very, very important for us to preserve food. Looking at it from our local context and in Africa, we watch smallholder farmers lose a lot of produce because of lack of storage solutions, training, and market. And just in Africa, we have about 40% of all food produced at the farm level being lost, just at the farm gate. So not to even talk of the food in transit, you know, moving food from the farms, the amount of food that is lost during that period. So we are losing a lot of food. And according to the UN, if we don't take care, we might not be able to feed our growing world population by 2050. So this is enough motivation for organizations like ours to come up with innovative solutions to tackle the issue of food waste. So at AcoFresh, what we are doing is, when we started working, the first challenge we faced was the fact that farmers were not having access to modern technology. Farmers were also not having access to electricity. And then finally, another issue we're facing was that farmers were not having access to enough capacity building to be able to produce food that will last longer. So how did we tackle these three issues? So the first one has to do with we designing a solar-powered cold storage preservation technology that is helping farmers preserve crops from 5 days to 21 days. So at the farm gates, when farmers harvest their crops, we give them the opportunity to preserve these fresh produce and prevent it from staying under ambient temperatures. So we store crops under environmentally controlled temperatures, helping them to be able to prevent food loss. And whilst they keep their produce in there, we also help them get access to market. The other challenge we faced was the fact that most of these communities were not having access to electricity. And it's a fact. So that was what really informed us to design our technology 100% off-grid. So we are able to deploy these cold chain solutions in rural communities without access to electricity. And then finally, by acknowledging the fact that farmers need to have training on post-harvest management and climate-smart agriculture, we also offer farmers the opportunity to have access to capacity building. And we've done that with some of our partners like the ITC, Roddenberry Foundation, and Kofi Annan Foundation. We've been able to provide these farmers with access to capacity building on climate-smart agriculture, post-harvest management, and introducing them to green cold chain solutions as well. So basically, that is what we do. These are the challenges we face and how we are helping improve food systems. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I know AcoFresh has just started taking national surveys and interns. So I think Matthias can speak about that in 2 minutes. Maybe someone here is interested in taking their national service or interning at AcoFresh, how to go about it, and then we'll take the final words from everyone. Yes, Matthias.
Yes, so at AcoFresh, we believe that young people, we believe in creating green job opportunities for young people. At AcoFresh, we don't have anyone on the team who is above 30. So it's an entirely youth-led solution. So we are definitely open to having national service personnel. Of course, it's closed, but we will use this opportunity to give access to special people. You can send an email to hiring@acofresh.com. And you can also visit www.acofresh.com to learn more about what we do and see how you can support. Thank you.
Thank you, too. So we'll take the final words about how we think we can collaborate as youth-led initiatives with other youth to empower climate action, and then we can be out of here. So Matthias, just start and we come back to me. Yes.
So how youth can take action?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, so personally, I believe young people, we are supposed to actually make the world better because we are the ones actually going to, suffer from the dire effects of climate change. So I believe as young people, we can take action by first off acknowledging that there is a problem. There are people who don't even acknowledge that the fact that there's climate change or climate change is real. People think climate change is a myth or is a joke. But as young people, what are we doing to acknowledge the fact that this issue of climate change exists? Once we do that, we should then collaborate. So collaborating with people, finding ways to even volunteer, coming up with, entrepreneurial ideas and initiatives are excellent ways for us to contribute to addressing some of these pressing issues. Even you are not supposed to even just come up with an entrepreneurial idea or a startup, but you just reaching out to any of these impactful organizations to even volunteer is an inspiring example of how people can also take up other initiatives and also volunteer to create change. So basically, this is what I can say. But I believe that in our own little way, even by advocating on our various social media channels about the need to protect the environment and protect the climate, is also a great way for us to make an impact as young people. Thank you.
Thank you, too. Valerie.
Yeah, thank you. So for CDKN, we are not necessarily a youth organization. We are a program, so we run across different thematic areas. But on the basis of our youth work, one thing we've realized works a lot is that we don't work in silos. So for instance, if we have an idea about channeling capacity building or training for a particular set of people, there are so many other organizations within this country that may be doing a similar thing or a part of it. And so we reach out to those people and then we partner to collaborate to run it. And we realize that it helps a lot because then the outcome of more people pursuing a particular interest is deeper than when we all work in our own streams. And it's a thing I've noticed within our part of the world that everyone wants to champion a cause. But once we are able to collaborate and set aside our differences, we can do a lot together. So I think the intentional collaboration amongst ourselves is very important for outcome reasons and all of that. On that note, I'd like to say that we are currently collating a database for grassroots organizations across the country. There's a young man who was part of our activist project, Gideon. He's somewhere there. Can you say hello? Yes, so you can say hello to Gideon and then possibly get in touch with him. Let him know if you have a youth-led grassroots organization to be part of the database for the inventory. And then we are planning to have a capacity building and training and then technical support for these youth-led grassroots organizations. So it will be great to connect with him and then possibly get shortlisted and see where this goes. But happy to help, so.
Okay, that's awesome. So don't forget to contact Gideon if you have a grassroots organization. Cody.
I think one thing I want to really encourage youth is I think data and research are really important. However, after running a business for 10 years, if you spend so much time on data and research, you're never going to start. I would like to see more youth ideas and initiatives move from the idea stage into the action stage. I think that that's critical, even if you don't have all the components, even if you don't have all the funding, you should still be able to execute. A lot of times youth innovators feel as if money is a barrier, and I don't think that that's true. I think that if you have a really good idea, you will eventually make money out of that idea. When I started Environment 360, it was with 500 Ghana cedis. Our first big deal, we actually got $0. And it was only after running the program with no resources that finally the general manager came and said, you know what, you do so well with no resources, it makes me think that if we gave you money, you would be able to do a lot more. And I think that that is really important, is just to do something and not necessarily wait on everybody else to do something, or not necessarily wait on the funding to do something. The second thing I'd like to say is don't follow trends. Innovators don't do what everyone else is doing. So sometimes you might look around and say, oh, that's a great idea to, make paper bags, or, oh, it's awesome to use bamboo for silverware. And all of that is great, but if you really want to go very far, do something that no one else is doing. The reason Environment 360 is still standing strong 10 years later, as many have come and faded off, is because we actually entered into the plastic collection market first. For about 4 or 5 years, we actually didn't have any competition at all. So that meant by the time competition really caught on and started getting funding and being able to do extra things, we were so far ahead that it's very difficult to catch us. So don't look at what everybody else is doing and what trends are and where the funding is. Do something that you're really passionate about, that you really can get on the field and be really interactive with, and don't necessarily wait or follow, what someone else thinks is cool.
Thank you. Samuel.
Yes. So from CF, it's a non-profit organization. So it's open to any volunteer that wants to be part of this wonderful dream. Because what we do is we have experts from various fields that are part of the foundation. Myself, I'm the expert field. My expertise is on electronic waste. So you have our Greg, which our lead is also the co-founder of Farm Estates, which does aquaponics, which is another new business opportunity where you can control environment and grow agriculture. Sharing ideas is one of the best ways that you can come up with innovative ideas. When you share the ideas with people you can trust, don't share ideas with people who will just pick your ideas and just take it away. So we always say that when you are pitching or even doing any business model canvas, just don't give all the information, but rather keep the gist of it, and then join foundations or groups that think alike, like yourself, what you are doing. And I believe strongly that if you start small, gradually you can catch up. Because I started small from somewhere, and now I'm an expert in that field. You could also start small as a volunteer or just part of a foundation and offer free service. And you'll be surprised that down the line, 3-4 years down the line, or 2 years down the line, you'll be an expert. No matter what, you'll gain some knowledge and you'll be an expert in that field. And you'll contribute more. You'll start your own thing. We don't start big immediately. We start small and build upon it, and you become big.
Thank you. Thank you all so much for your time. We've had very innovative initiatives lined up here. They are outside after this session if you want to have a chat with them. Don't forget to see Gideon if you're a grassroots organization. Personally, what I've learned is that you need to take action. Don't just end as, I have passion, and then your idea is in a box in your house. No, come out of your comfort zone, start small, and definitely something will come out of it. Thank you all so much for your time. And this is the end of the session. We'll take a picture and move on. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Please, one more time for our panelists and our exceptional moderator. Thank you very much. Please, one more time for them. Next on the program, we will have the launch of the outcome. So the outcome of whatever we have discussed and championed here today, and that will be led by Miss Eugenia Yaira Agle. Miss Eugenia, if you are here, please do us the honors.
Thank you all so much for being with us till this time. We are really grateful that you've committed time and then energy to be part of us. So as part of this year's ELCOI, we are looking to launch the National Youth Climate Statement, which will be our first outcome. And then we have a second outcome, which is on tarted caps. So we have a brief video which would give us an explanation into what the tarted caps is about. And then after that, we would have a petition signing event outside after the conference closes. So kindly, let's watch this video quickly, and then we can continue.
Over the years, plastic pollution has been a major environmental challenge in Ghana, adversely affecting life below water and life on land. Discussions around various plastic pollutants in Ghana have been centered around sachet water rubbers, polythene bags, and other bottles. However, a major problematic fraction is the plastic bottle caps. Due to their small nature in size, they are easily discarded and frequently found in rivers, lakes, oceans, usually causing great harm to marine life and contaminating water sources. These plastic bottle caps have played a significant role in the rising issue of microplastics, subsequently causing bioaccumulation of harmful chemicals in many aquatic organisms found in the water bodies. One of the main phrases you should leave ELCOI Ghana 2024 with is the phrase, "No plastic is too small to pollute." Given the single-use plastic campaigns worldwide, we propose a legislative approach for Ghana. This legislation is essential to mitigate the impact of plastic pollution and to promote sustainable environmental practices. We propose the following legislative measures to address these issues. Mandate the tarted cups. All beverages and containers in Ghana must have that cup that remains attached to the bottle after opening. This measure will ensure that caps are not easily discarded and reduce the likelihood of them becoming an issue in the country. There must be the implementation of a timeline to address these issues In this, we propose 24 months to comply with these new requirements, a public awareness campaign to that effect, and also incentives for compliance, penalties also for non-compliance. As we decide to be resilient in the face of climate change, let's stand together. Let's make this mandatory. Let's push this legislative mandate of third caps on beverage containers in Ghana. Together, our voices will change the significant impacts that climate change has posed to us and the generations to come.
All life on earth, from
Please give it up to us. Give it up to us. So that was an excellent video. So I believe the video explains everything that has to be said. And then also we want to give the action to you. If you are happy to join this course for us to do, this petition to the legislatures in Ghana to make this mandatory, kindly there would be a table by the registration desk where you pick up your certificates of participation. So once you are doing the pickup of your certificates, you can also go along on that sheet and then sign once you agree to this mandate. And this would be presented to leaders in parliament, the Speaker of Parliament, the majority speakers, and then the minority speakers as well, to make this mandatory and help us fight the issue of plastic waste. Please note that no plastic is too small. Thank you.
Certainly, no plastic is too small. Please, one more time for Miss Eugenia. One more time for Miss Eugenia. So, we now have the closing remark and next steps by Mr. Andrew Kofi. Please, a round of applause for Mr. Andrew Kofi.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. I'm Andrew Kofi. I'll be doing the closing remarks and next steps. Am I on? Yeah. So I want to start by saying thank you to a couple of people. I want to say a big thank you to all our volunteers. We've had volunteers supporting us from day one. Some of them are supporting us virtually from across the country, and some of them are here in person to support today's event. Some of them joined in regional consultations, and we're grateful. Would also like to say thank you to supporting organizations. We've had a number of them, over 25 of them. Some of them are exhibitors here today, and we really appreciate you. Please engage with them outside as well. Would also like to say a big thank you to our partners, IOM, British High Commission, Accra, UNDP, UNICEF, Deloitte, AYP, YOTA, the EPA Ghana, MESTI, AYICC, and the Danish High Commission here in Ghana. We'd also like to say a big thank you to members of the press who covered today's program and have been following the work we are doing across the country and getting the information out there. We're grateful. I'd like to say a few words before I move on outside of thank yous. This year's ELCOI's theme, Beyond Breakdown, Youth Resilience in the Face of Climate Loss. From today's discussions, we found that young people have gone through a lot because of the changes happening in our environment due to climate change. And many young people through organizations and as individuals and activists are doing a lot of hard work, and there's still more to do and there are opportunities. So moving forward, we'd want everyone to partner with other people to get more done. We appreciate you for coming today. We'll be working on the National Youth Climate Statement. So we'll be sending out surveys to make that happen, and would be moving around the country to make a presentation of the final product, which is the NYCS. and we'll be sending that NYCS to the younger team so that we can include views from Ghana in the Global Youth Climate Statement. Thank you so much for coming, our participants. You've made this program a success. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Andrew. Please, one more time for Andrew. All too soon, we draw the curtain down for today's occasion, but I want us all to take this, I call it the climate pledge, please. So you repeat after me. I, then you mention your name. Promise to be a friend to the planet. With all the energy and with all my heart. I promise to desist from actions that negatively affect the climate. As a young person, I promise to add my voice to the progressive discourse on taking impactful climate actions. So help me God. Please, a round of applause for ourselves. Great. So we started with an opening prayer, and so shall we end. This time I want anyone at all to volunteer and pray for us. Okay. Oh, please, a round of applause for him.
We are praying. Our Heavenly Father, we thank you this evening for how far you have brought us. We pray that everything that we have learned, everything that we have discussed is to the benefits of the nature, to the benefit of ourselves, to the benefit of the world you created. Help us and give us the ability to be able to do it. And at the end, glory, honor, and adoration will be given unto thy name. We thank you in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you so much, our brother. So we've learned a lot about the need to demystify the scope of circular economy, protecting the climate, and, holding duty bearers accountable to the commitment in, the fight against climate injustice. Thank you so much for coming. My name is Fauzu Masaud. I'll be your MC for today's occasion. See you again next year.
Hi, everyone. So my name is Catherine. If you are on my regional delegates list, the people that came from outside Accra, that are on my group page that I am funding to come, please move upstairs. If only you're on my regional delegates list. My name is Catherine. If you're on my regional delegates list, you know me because I've been communicating with you. Please move upstairs immediately. Those that slept at Paynes. If you came yesterday and today, please move upstairs. Thank you.